The Nissan Frontier hasn't been fully redesigned here in the United States for over a decade. With newly refreshed competitors from Toyota, Chevrolet, and GMC, the Frontier is clearly the oldest one in the class. However, is there a reason to pick the Frontier over its competitors, or should you wait for the redesigned model in 2017? Well, let's go ahead and find out and check out this 2016 Nissan Frontier. Now, this generation Frontier has been out for quite some time now, since around the 2005 model year, which is a pretty long time for a vehicle. And it also used to be heavily related to the Nissan Pathfinder, the last generation, as they shared many styling cues inside and out with each other. Now, as far as the styling goes on the Frontier here, it's still very rugged looking, still very truck-like, of course. You have halogen headlights, but don't expect to find any modern styling touches such as LED daytime running lights or LED headlights. You also do have these pretty conservative looking 16-inch alloy wheels. Now, new for the 2016 model year, not much has changed except for that there's 3 new exterior colors and that there is now a sunroof offered on the SV model. Our model of the Frontier we also have here is a crew cab SV. Now, Nissan is also focusing a lot of its time and money on the new Nissan Titan this year, but rumors are suggesting that they're going to start focusing a lot of their time on the Frontier next year. And hopefully they'll have a full redesigned model by 2017. Here goes the key fob design for the vehicle. Still pretty dated looking. You have your remote keyless entry, your unlock, your lock, and then your panic button. This color is known as the gunmetallic, which is a popular color for Nissan. You will find it on many of their models. You also do have a full-on gray cloth interior. Now, when you step on inside of the Frontier here, it's pretty much the same basic cabin design from the 2005 model year. It's getting really dated and long in the tooth. However, they did add some styling touches along the way since 2005, and they did add this 5-inch color display screen, which I'll get to a little later in the video. But it's still the same basic overall design. The steering wheel looks like it came straight out of 2005 too. And what you're hearing there is a 4-liter V6 engine. Coming to your transmission, you have a 5-speed automatic. You also do have an overdrive mode too. When you put the vehicle into reverse, this will display your rear view camera with guidance signs. And I'm going to go ahead and turn on the lights. And you also do have fog lights and the hazards. Automatic driver's side window. Let's go ahead and pop up the hood, check out the engine bay. And you do have 16-inch alloy wheels. Halogen headlights with your halogen fog lights. Now, powering the Frontier, you can either go for the base engine, the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder, or this 4-liter V6 that produces 261 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and 281 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM. It's a pretty strong V6 engine, I have to say. One of the better V6 engines in the mid-size pickup class. It also does run on regular unleaded fuel, and you're looking at EPA estimates of 16 in the city and 22 on the highway. Kind of dismal fuel economy there, especially when you compare it to half-ton pickups that earn very similar fuel economy to the Frontier. However, this 4-liter V6 engine certainly provides ample amounts of power for the vehicle, and decent towing capacity ratings. Trims for the Frontier for the crew cab models only start at the S trim, which starts at $22,700. Then you have the SV trim, like how we have here, starts at $24,630. The Desert Runner starts at $25,510. The SL starts at $31,360, and then the Pro 4X starts at $31,510. You can either choose between 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, or you can go for the extended cab model or this crew cab model like how we have here. Competitors of the Frontier, you have the vehicles in the midsize pickup truck class. This includes the likes of the Toyota Tacoma, GMC Canyon, and Chevrolet Colorado. Total vehicle price, you're looking at $27,545. EPA estimates 16 in the city, 22 on the highway, like it said. Ours is also a 2-wheel drive model. Of course, all of your basic power necessities, power windows, power door locks, and then your power mirrors are located right here. Chrome interior door handles too. Now let's go ahead and rev it up and see how that V6 engine sounds. Now, probably the biggest thing where the Frontier falls short compared to its competitors is in its interior design. It's very dated looking. Build quality and materials are pretty subpar inside of here too, and there's a lot of low grade interior plastics. It has a very cheap economy kind of feel. Up here, it's a hard touch upper door panel, very scratchy, cheap feeling plastic. Up here it's hard touch, mid door panels hard touch, armrest slightly padded. The dashboard is covered in a very scratchy feeling hard touch plastic. Build quality isn't all that great either. There are some panel gaps inside of here, and some of the interior trim and pieces creak a little bit, but this is all hard touch plastic. Just everywhere you touch it's going to be hard. There are vehicles in this class that are a lot better in terms of its interior design. The Toyota Tacoma and the GM Twins are a lot better in terms of their interiors. Now, the steering wheel design is also getting pretty dated looking. This is Nissan's last generation steering wheel design. I like their newer steering wheels, but coming over here we have your Bluetooth phone controls, your voice recognition. Steering wheel mounted audio controls are also located right here too. Cruise control is also located right there. Now, there's also no high-end safety technologies that you can get on the Frontier. No blind spot detection or anything of that nature. No lane departure alert. The steering wheel does tilt, however, but it does not telescope, which is a pretty big con. Up here we have your auto-dimming rearview mirror with the integrated compass, and then it gives you your exterior temperature readout. Up here we have your sunglass container and then your map lights. Down here you will find a little storage cubby and then a little storage pocket right here, dual cup holders, and your parking brake. Coming to your center console, decent amount of center console storage, and then you will find a USB port, an auxiliary input, and a 12-volt power outlet. One thing I will say I love about the Frontier is its pretty straightforward controls, however. Pretty big knobs and buttons for the AC controls. We do have dual zone automatic climate control, which is actually a pretty nice feature. I didn't expect to see dual zone in this truck. But you do have your temperatures right here, and then your different zones, and then your fan speeds. Very straightforward controls, very user-friendly, and pretty ergonomically correct there. Over here we have two 12-volt power outlets, and then we have your two staged heated seats for the driver and the passenger. Your traction control off button is also located right here, and then you have your rear parking sensors button if you want to turn that off or on. Now let's get to the main head unit here. Now we have a 5-inch color display screen that you'll find in pretty much all of Nissan's newer vehicles nowadays. But it's a fairly basic radio system. It does what it needs to do. The graphics and the rendering are okay. You do have your AM, FM, and then we also do have XM satellite radio, of course. Your different media options include your auxiliary input, your CD player with your optical disc drive, USB port with iPod integration, and Bluetooth streaming audio. Down here you will also find your presets too, and then you have your volume knob right here, and then your on and off button for the radio. And then right over here you have your seek and track button, and then we have your optical disc drive, which is up here. Coming to your apps, you can hook up your Bluetooth phone, have various apps connected through your data connection on your smartphone, and then you can access like Pandora, iHeartRadio, all that good stuff. And then I also do love that you do have a back button on this head unit, which is nice. Let's go ahead and test out the voice recognition.
There are no phones connected to the vehicle. To use this system, a compatible Bluetooth phone must be connected. Please refer to your phone's user manual before trying to connect your phone. Would you like to connect a phone now? After the beep, say, add phone, or no.
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 You have to have a phone connected to the system, obviously, but it does pick up your voice recognition pretty well. Overall, this system is fairly basic. It does what it needs to do with minimal fuss. Gauges in the instrument cluster are pretty dated looking too, but they're very traditional. No TFT instrument cluster or no LCD screen either. Coming on the left, we have your coolant temperature, and then you have your tachometer, and then you have your speedometer on the right, and then your fuel gauge down there. Pretty simple, basic gauges. As far as visibility goes in the Frontier, it's pretty good. Pretty easy to see out of the front windows, and visibility out through the windshield is pretty decent too. A-pillars aren't too thick. They're actually pretty thin. As far as the seats go, the seats are okay. They're not the most comfortable seats. They don't offer a whole lot of support, however, but they are cushy, which I like. Pretty good for long road trips that they're cushy, but they don't offer a whole lot of side bolstering or anything of that nature. Thigh support is okay, but not the best. Now, one thing that'll surprise you about the Frontier is that it's actually somewhat fun to drive, and it's actually probably the best handling vehicle in the mid-size pickup class. And you wouldn't expect that out of a truck for it to be fun to drive. It's supposed to be a very utilitarian and practical kind of vehicle, but it's actually pretty nice that the Frontier is somewhat engaging to drive. The steering is actually fairly responsive, and you can feel for where this vehicle is trying to go. The ride quality is pretty comfortable overall, but however, I think the Chevrolet Colorado and GMC Canyon have more comfortable rides. And the V6 engine provides adequate amounts of power, lots of power. It's probably one of the best V6 engines in the midsize pickup truck class. But overall, the Nissan Frontier is actually quite enjoyable to drive, especially for a truck. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and shut down the vehicle. Let's go ahead and check out the rest of the Frontier. Now back here you will find a 6.1 foot cargo bed. You also do have a sliding bed extender back here too. And one thing I love about the Frontier is that the bed lining is just very, very durable. However, one thing I do miss is the dampened tailgate that you will find on GM's twin trucks. Build quality and materials do follow through in the rear. Now back here you will also find a 60-40 split folding rear seat, which is quite nice. And then back here you will find a decent amount of headroom. The legroom is pretty good too, but the worst part about sitting back here is probably the low mounted cushion. There's not a whole lot of thigh support back here. It's actually pretty horrid. But we do have a single map pocket and cup holders too. It's not the legroom or the headroom, it's just the seats themselves that need to be fixed. Full manual passenger seat, glove box compartment, and a little storage cubby. So even though the Frontier hasn't been fully redesigned since the 2005 model year, it still somewhat stands out in the midsize pickup class due to its very brawny V6 engine and its somewhat fun to drive nature. However, there are midsize pickups that are more fuel efficient and do offer more features and have updated interior and exterior styling. However, if you're just looking for a reliable workhorse truck, then the Nissan Frontier should satisfy. So remember that this is Cameron Birch from Cameron's Car Reviews.